because they were option.
I'll call the monthly board meeting for the Shell Rock River Watershed District for December 12th, 2023 to order. Leah, please call roll.
Manager Bachman.
Here.
Manager Kramer.
Here.
Manager Hanson.
Here.
Manager DeBoer.
Here.
Manager Lee.
Here.
Manager Delger.
Here. We'll go on to item number 2, public forum. I don't see anybody here today that wants to speak. And nobody standing up running to the table. And that will go on to item number 3. Approval of the agenda. Are there any additions, corrections, or deletions?
Mr. Chair, we do have one correction. Item 5B, instead of a motion, we'll be looking for a resolution.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the agenda with the correction?
So moved.
By Manager Kramer, do I have a second?
Yes.
Manager Hanson, any discussion? Hearing none, Leah, please call roll.
Manager Bachman.
Aye.
Manager Kramer.
Aye.
Manager Hanson.
Aye.
Manager DeBoer.
Aye.
Manager Lee.
Aye.
Manager Delger.
Aye, motion carried. Item number 4, the consent agenda. The following items will be acted upon without discussion in accordance with the staff recommendation and associated documents unless a manager requests opportunity for discussion. A, minutes of the November 14th, 2023 Shell Rock River Watershed District regular board meeting. B, minutes of the December 5th, 2023 Shell Rock River Watershed District Personnel Committee meeting. C, November 2023 treasurer's report subject to audit. D, November 2023 project fund treasurer's report subject to audit. E, authorized payment of claims. F, authorized payment of project fund disbursements. Do I have a motion to approve?
Yes.
By Manager Hanson, do I have a second?
Second.
By Manager Lee, any discussion? Hearing none, please call roll.
Manager Bachman.
Aye.
Manager Kramer.
Aye.
Manager Hanson.
Aye.
Manager DeBoer.
Aye.
Manager Lee.
Aye.
Manager Delger.
Aye, motion carried. Item number 5, we will go to Administrator Andy Hempel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First item on the agenda, item A, is a motion to approve Personnel Committee recommendation for the cost of living adjustments. This was discussed with the Personnel Committee at our December 5th meeting. Just to give you a quick rundown of what some of the thoughts and discussions that we had were. Basically, I reviewed the cost of living that the other local governments around us have looked at and approved for 2023. So you have the city of Albert Lee at 3%. You have Freeborn County at right now sits at 1.75%. But at their next meeting, they're looking to raise that to 3%. You have the state of Minnesota employees got a 5% federal social security at a 3.2. So the administrator's recommendation for staff was a 3% cost of living allocation increase to go into effect January of 2024.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
By Manager DeBoer, do I have a second?
Second.
By Manager Kramer, any discussion? Hearing none, will you please call roll?
Manager Bachman.
Aye.
Manager Kramer.
Aye.
Manager Hanson.
Aye.
Manager DeBoer.
Aye.
Manager Lee.
Aye.
Manager Delger.
Aye, motion carried.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item B is a motion to approve the personnel committee recommendations for the manager per diem. Remember, this one switched to a resolution. So I don't know, Mr. Chair, if you want a resolution, somebody to enter that resolution in a second before we get into discussion.
Yeah, before that, I will do that. Okay, have a motion to approve. Go ahead. By Manager Hanson, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Manager Lee. Please read the resolution.
Resolution 2023-12, Shell Rock River Watershed District Board of Managers per diem compensation and reimbursement for travel and necessary expenses. Whereas Minnesota statute 103D.315 subdivision 8 provides up to $125 per day per diem for watershed district managers for meetings and performance of other necessary duties. Whereas effective January 1st, 2024, the Shell Rock River Watershed District Board of Managers desires to establish the per diem rate for the Board of Managers to $100 per day for attendance at meetings and the performance of other necessary duties under 4 hours, and $125 per day for attendance at meetings and the performance of other necessary duties lasting more than 4 hours. Whereas the Board of Managers considers the following as necessary duties: expenses incurred by Board of Managers for attendance at meetings and events, mileage at federal mileage rate, or commercial transportation expenses, parking fees, toll charges, hotel accommodations, meals if travel over 30 miles, expenses for use of personal equipment not to exceed $25, and childcare as allowed by Minnesota law. Whereas attendance at parties, county fairs, festivals, parades, or other social events are not eligible for per diem payments. Whereas no per diem payments may be made for meetings with groups unless authorized in the minutes and there is a subsequent report of meeting to the Board of Managers. Whereas no more than 1 per diem per day can be collected. Whereas the Board of Managers desires to reimburse the managers for travel and necessary expenses as allowed by Minnesota Statute 103D.315 subdivision 8. Whereas the statute allows for a mileage rate not to exceed the federally established mileage rate. Whereas the district desires the district staff in conjunction with professional services as needed to establish a policy stating necessary duties and reasonable expenses. How mileage will be determined, who is authorized to approve travel expenses, what supporting documentation and records are required, and limits and time restrictions on reimbursements. Now therefore, section 1. The district hereby authorizes the district to increase the per diem rate for the Board of Managers to the allowable statutory amount of $100 per day for attendance at meetings and the performance of other necessary duties under 4 hours, and $125 per day for attendance at meetings and the performance of other necessary duties lasting more than 4 hours. Section 2, the district hereby authorizes the district to reimburse the Board of Managers for travel and necessary expenses as allowed by applicable law. Section 3, the district hereby authorizes the staff to establish a policy stating how mileage will be determined, necessary duties and reasonable expenses, who is authorized to approve travel expenses, and what supporting documentation records are required, and limits and time restrictions on reimbursement. Dated December 12, 2023.
Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chair, I have a little bit of discussion just to discuss what some of the general questions and concerns were with the per diem. So I went back and looked at what some of our other local watershed districts, such as the Turtle Creek and Cedar River watershed district. Cedar River watershed district per diem rate as of right now is $125. Turtle Creek watershed district right now, their per diem is at $100. And then we also, MAUD, or the Minnesota Association of Watershed District, just did a survey for the 38 districts that got back to MAUD. 25 of them are at the max of $125. 2 of them are at $100. 1 of them is at $85. 3 of them are at $75. And 1 is at $55. That would be us. We are the lowest per diem rate of anybody in the state. So that's what sort of came to the conclusion of looking at increasing that per diem for managers. Again, for $100 for every meeting under 4 hours, and then the max $125 for any meeting over 4 hours. Again, we looked at how this would affect the budget. It's hard to say because we don't know exactly the number of those meetings that will go over the 4 hours, 25 rate. But we figure it's going to raise the budget, admin budget somewhere around $7,000, which is already, if you look at the budget that we have presented for final approval to the county, includes that increase for managers per diem already. So. Any questions or thoughts from the board?
Any more discussion?
I think it just really goes back to also, we put a lot of time into being on the board that's not reflected in per diems or in the meeting reimbursements. You know, for example, touring projects around the district, coming in and talking to staff and just making sure everything's going okay. All the background work that we do, you know, preparing for meetings and stuff like that. So I think it's fair. A fair reimbursement for our time, so.
When's the last time there was
Never.
Never.
Maybe we look in the future to keep doing. Incremental ones, so they'll all of a sudden have one.
Yeah, I guess just to clarify, right now, our per diem is set at $55, which again, like I said in the survey, for all those that answered the survey, that's the lowest. In the survey. So again, it's been way overdue, to look at, you know, your guys' time is not supposed to be free. I mean, you guys both have jobs, or some of you guys have jobs, some are retired, but it's still time out of your day, that you're giving to the watershed district. So, I think that's why the recommendation was for, again, any meeting under 4 hours at the $100, and then any meeting over 4 hours at the $125.
I think some of the other watersheds actually pay mileage to get to the meetings and back, right?
Yeah, a lot of them, I shouldn't say a lot of them, but yeah, some of them pay mileage. But a lot of those are districts like up in the Red River Valley, where some of the managers have to drive like 100 miles to get to their meeting location. So, but yeah, it is definitely a reimbursable expense that you guys could, but you know, none of you guys have ever requested mileage for our regular board meetings.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, please call roll.
Manager Barkin.
Aye.
Manager Kramer.
Aye.
Manager Hanson. Manager DeBoer.
Aye.
Manager Lee.
Aye.
Manager Delcher.
The resolution passes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item C is a motion to approve the personnel committee recommendation for the earned sick and safe time leave policy. Chair, would you like a motion and then discussion?
I'll take a motion. By Manager Hanson, do I have a second?
Second.
By Manager DeBoer. We'll have a discussion.
Yes, and just to give you an overview, quick before we get into any more discussion, again, this safe and sick time policy, leave policy, is a mandate that came out of the 2023 legislative session. So this is something that we have to have implemented into our personnel handbook by January 1st of 2024. What this is going to do is it's actually going to take over our personal time policy. We're just going to rename our personal time policy to the safe and sick time leave. The only major change for us, as far as has nothing to do with full-time employees, but with part-time or temporary employees, they will be allowed to accrue safe and sick time leave at 1 hour for every 30 hours worked. So that's the biggest change. The other thing with full-time right now, we front load the safe and sick time January 1st for all full-time. However, for temporary and part-time employees, that will actually be accrued as they work. So they will not be front loaded with sick and safe time, if that makes sense. They have to work, I believe, 80 hours before they can take any of their accrued time that they have saved. And again, when it comes to why they're taking it, it's pretty much they can take it for anything they need. So, any questions or thoughts on the earned sick and safe time leave? It's a great time to ask questions.
There's a lot of change in there that we have to abide by.
Yeah, the biggest thing for us, our personal time is already meets the requirements for the state, and actually is a little bit goes above what the state is requiring. Where it's different is that part-time or temporary employees. The other thing you'll see with this, and I'll probably talk about it a little bit more. In the next item, but we'll be working on a update to the personnel handbook for a bunch of different things. Cause there's also new statutes that are coming into effect that will go into effect in 2025 and 2026.
We just talked about it too. Right. So with that, any more discussion? Do I have a motion to approve by manager?
We already
Lee?
have that.
Pardon me?
We already have the motion.
Oh, yeah, I had to do that first. Getting it all confused. Leave this call roll.
Manager Bakken?
Aye.
Manager Kramer?
Aye.
Manager Hanson?
Aye.
Manager DeBoer?
Aye.
Manager Lee? Manager Delta?
Aye. Motion carried.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As noted at the end of my last conversation. Item D is just to give an update on the employee handbook. With all the new changes coming down the pipe, we will be making changes to the personnel handbook. Steph did a really good job at the personnel committee meeting and giving the personnel committee an update or a snapshot of all the changes coming up. I think some of you will probably be amazed at some of the changes that are coming up. And some of them are, in my opinion, pretty crazy, but that's what we have to do as a public entity. So we'll be looking at making those changes in the personal handbook as we move forward here, hoping to have something for the board to approve early spring of 2024. Steph, I don't know if you want to just expand on some of the major changes we're going to be seeing in the handbook. Put you on the spot.
Sure. So the first obviously is the earned sick and safe time, which you just approved. So that'll be effective on January 1. We've also seen lots of changes related to accommodations for pregnancy and nursing mothers. Those went into effect actually in July, so we're complying with them, but we need to get our handbook updated. So that way we are on track. Moving forward, there's been updates on protected classes in Minnesota related to gender identity. So we'll get those into your handbook as well. Those are the highlights.
One big one for 2026.
You want me to go there? So for 2026, and actually from a press release yesterday, it has been called up to this point, Minnesota paid family and medical leave. As of yesterday, they're going to call it paid leave because they're now going to incorporate military and some other leaves into that as well. But what that allows for is a paid leave that will be run like the state unemployment system. So the things that you'll need to think about before 2026 is the district's reporting requirements will start next year in 2024. And then there'll be notice requirements following for employees. So that comes with a tax, since it's like the unemployment system. Some of that tax can be deferred to our employees, or the district can bear that whole cost. Again, it's a moving target at this point. It started at 0.07. The latest data shows that was under what it's going to cost to run the program. So that is now up to 0.078, and we'll see where it actually lands by the time it takes effect.
0.78.
Point
0.0.
0.078.
So it's, is that a percent or?
7.8%.
That's relation.
And then the actual paid leave benefits, again, are administered by the state. So the applications will go there. We don't have to deal with that. But that will start January 1 of 2026. So it will be important as you're starting your budgets in 2025, your budgets for 2026. Stay tuned. There's lots of moving parts there.
Yes, there is.
All right, moving on to item D, the Minnesota Watersheds annual conference update. Again, we had two managers attend that, Brad and Mike, both attended it. We had all four staff attended. Just some highlights that came from the Minnesota Watersheds annual conference. We did get a plaque for our 20 years, so they recognized us for our 20 years of existence, as I like to say it. We also, thanks to Leah, we won the traveling trophy for our movie night, which was the dredging or accomplishment movie that we put together for our 20th anniversary. So we were voted by other watershed districts and received that award. Other than that, I don't know, Mike or Brad, if you want to give an update on some of the conferences you attended. Brad, if you want to maybe start.
Yeah, you bet. First of all, great job to our staff for all the hard work. I mean, like, we were in the finalists for the project of the year for the Fountain Lake Restoration Project. Every time I'm up there, it just reinforces how professional, how well our staff, does everything, just the professionalism, knowledge. Our leaders, being leaders in the watershed world in Minnesota. So kudos to our staff. Thank you very much for all the hard work and everything that goes into that. I think the conference went well. I was in the drainage workshop for the day one full day class. A lot of great information that I learned from there to bring back and better understand our projects and what we're approving and what's going into the community and stuff like that, or what's available to us. Just again, going through all the classes and stuff. I'm on the events and education committee for Minnesota Watersheds. So part of the planning and proving for who those instructors are and what classes are. So last year is my first year on that. So now taking what I've learned that year and hopefully introduce some better sessions and ideas for training for staff and managers and others that attend the conference. So overall, I think the conference was great. Thank you for everybody that attended. And thank you again to our staff for being so great that we get recognized with awards and being finalists and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, I want to thank you. Staff was they did an excellent job on everything and getting me up there. And a place to stay and getting us all, everything up there was just fantastic. And I went to some of the conferences I went to were excellent. Wednesday I went to basically real educational on watershed. I thought that was excellent. And I learned a lot more than I thought I knew a lot, but I learned a lot more. So. And then on Thursday I went to a couple the results from the multi-year cart management program, which we have big trouble down here with Park Lake and Fountain and Elberly Lakes and Shell Rock. Now that was very good, and I went to plans for shoreline design, and that was good. I really enjoyed that one, and that I learned a lot on that one too. So, and it's just I just had a great time with it. I want to thank you all for kind of pushing me in that direction, and it was time very well spent. Thank you.
Yeah, so a couple things, Mike went to the new managers, which is, we set up that educational session for new managers sort of to understand the concept of the watershed world that we live in and what roles watershed managers play. And we did a lot of changes to that education piece because some of the managers that were attending it didn't feel like they were getting enough out of it. So I know a lot of changes were made there. Also, just the Minnesota Watersheds Annual Conference in general had a lot of changes. It started a day earlier, so it ended on a Friday, not on a Saturday. And I think it showed. I think Minnesota Watersheds had their highest sign up for the conference of over 400 people in attendance. So that was really good. I think it's really good to show that to the state agencies that were there, DNR, MPCA, and Bowser, because it shows that we're a united voice in water quality, flooding concerns, drainage concerns. And I think we need that more than ever in the world today, is have that voice right now, especially for the farmers, for the drainage portion of it. Because there's some groups really going after the drainage end of things, and here in Fremont County, it's our highest economic impact is our farming community. So, we need to work with them to make sure that, we can coexist in the projects that we're doing. And I think we do a really good job at that. I do want to say thanks to staff as well. We are highly recognized up there. A lot of people come to us and ask us questions about how we run stuff because we do so much and we do different things. Not the standard practice that some watershed districts do, or standard focus of just flooding or just water quality. I mean, we run the gamut of all of those. And it's really nice to get recognized there at the conference, but then also to see the communication from other administrators, other board managers up there. I had a lot of board managers, say hey, we love what you guys do. Can you tell us how you're doing that? So that's a lot of fun, and it really shows the effort that my staff puts in into our projects, into our planning, and how we move projects through this watershed district. So again, hats off to staff and keep up the good work. All right, moving on to item F, and this is we're getting into our end of the year annual approvals that we have to have for our budget. So item F is a motion to approve the 2024 administrative levy and certify the administrative levy to the Freeborn County Auditor Treasurer. If you look in your packets, you will see the 2024 administrative levy. The total income we're looking at for the administrative levy is $270,800. So this is identical to the levy that we first certified in September. So nothing has changed for final cost of the levy. However, to incorporate the cost of living and the per diems, there was some changing of numbers, and just to specify the largest number that was changed was item 4.51, which is utilities and facilities. That we actually dropped that from 42,000, which was in the original budget in September, to 35. And then we increased the per diem budget in some of the admin personal expenses for the cost of living adjustments. So looking for a motion to approve the 2024 admin levy.
So moved by Manager Kramer. Do I have a second? Second by Manager Hanson. Any discussion? Hearing none, will you please call roll?
Manager Bakken,
Aye.
Manager Kramer,
Aye.
Manager Hanson,
Aye.
Manager DeBoer,
Aye.
Manager Lee, Manager Delvin.
Aye, motion carried.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item G is a motion to approve the 2024 debt service levy and certify the debt service levy to the Freeborn County Auditor Treasurer. If you look on our project budget for 2024, you can see that our debt service levy, I always gotta find this. Our debt service levy is $178,625. And that's basically set by the state up to so much. Can you explain that again?
We can do a percentage of our tax base, but we are under that. This covers our payments to repay our loan for the dredging that we took up. And so this covers that expense.
So it covers our bond levy that we took up for dredging. Again, we could bring in more, but this meets our payments requirement for the bond levy. So again, looking for a motion to approve the 2024 debt service levy and certify it to the county of $178,625.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
By Manager DeBoer. Do I have a second?
Second.
By Manager Lee. Any discussion? Hearing none, will you please call roll?
Manager Bakken,
Aye.
Manager Kramer,
Aye.
Manager Hanson,
Aye.
Manager DeBoer,
Aye.
Manager Lee,
Aye.
Manager Delvin.
All right, motion carried.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item H is a motion to approve the 2024 liability insurance levy and certify the liability levy to the Freeborn County Auditor Treasurer. Again, this is the levy for our insurance, which did increase. And yep. So our liability levy went up to 20,800 in 2023, it was at 17,200, I believe. So we did see an increase in our insurance liability. And therefore, we did see an increase in our 2024 budget for our levy to 20,800. So again, we're looking for a motion to approve the 2024 liability insurance levy and certify the liability levy to the Freeborn County Treasurer and Auditor Treasurer.
We have a motion.
Yes, you do.
By Manager Hanson, do I have a second?
Second.
By Manager Kramers, any discussion? Hearing none, will you please call roll?
Manager Watkins,
Aye.
Manager Kramer,
Aye.
Manager Hanson,
Aye.
Manager DeBoer,
Aye.
Manager Lee, Manager Delegate.
All right, Mr. Carey.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item I is motion to approve the 2024 administrative budgets. Again, in your packets, you'll see the 2024 administrative budgets. Again, the total for the administrative budget is $270,800. Again, just a quick go through some of the quick bullet points. Personnel expenses is at $104,600. Travel related expenses is about $8,000. Personnel training is at $9,750. Office expenses is at $51,200. Professional services is at $60,250. Capital expenses is at $7,000. Our reserve is at $30,000. You will see some changes in 2025 on how we show that reserve. But as of 2024, our total admin budget expenses is again $270,800. Looking for a motion to approve the 2024 admin budget.
We have a motion.
So moved.
By Manager Bachman, do I have a second? Second. By Manager Kramer, any discussion? Hearing none, will you please call roll?
Manager Watkins,
Aye.
Manager Kramer,
Aye.
Manager Hanson,
Aye.
Manager DeBoer,
Aye.
Manager Lee, Manager Delegate.
Motion carried.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item J is a motion to approve the 2024 project fund budget. Again, I'm just gonna hit on some of the larger items here. So for total income for 2024, we're looking at 18,603,000. Our expenses in erosion and water quality control, we're looking at 1,851,275. Under item 260, the Bowser implementation grants, we have 106,278. Under the heading sub watershed projects, we're at 472,000. If you look under the dredging elements, we're at 3,350,000. If you look at underwater monitoring, we're at 41,000. And you look at our reserves, for total projects or cash reserves, we're at 3,134,336. Total grant reserves, we were at 9,330,112 for a total reserve of 12,464,448. Total debt service, we're at 318,000 for a total disbursement of $18,603,001. Herman always has to put one little crazy number in there. So again, looking for approval of the 2004 project budget of $18,603,001.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Lee, One, Bakken was three.
Round there.
I had a myself again.
I'm sorry.
Any discussion?
Comments do.
Yes,
We have a discussion.
on the dredging elements, can you enlighten us a little bit on what that 3,350,000 would include this year?
Yeah, so that's gonna include, potentially. Again, potentially some of the actual dredge contracts, but it will definitely include all of the studies, all of the engineering. And all of the, permitting processes that we have to go through. To receive permits, from the state and the go ahead, to put the project out for bid.
They're gonna be engineers, get great. They always do.
Thank you.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, will you please call roll?
Manager Bakken,
Aye.
Manager Kramer,
Aye.
Manager Hanson,
Aye.
Manager DeBoer,
Aye.
Manager Lee,
Aye.
Manager Duffy.
Aye, motion carried. Well, we have them, Andy.
That is all I have, yes.
Okay.
So someone with that.
Yeah, I know. Item number 6, the water project and program manager Courtney Phillips.
Thanks. The first item I have is a motion to apply for MPCA RAPS funding. So the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency has a plan. Its acronym is RAPS, but it stands for Watershed Restoration and Protection Strategies. So this is a plan that we've had completed previously. The MPCA has funding available to implement some types of projects in our watershed as well as the Winnebago, because we're grouped together as a watershed planning. And so we've been meeting with the soil and water conservation districts as well as Freeborn County and the city to kind of plan paths forward of how we can spend this money. And we have roughly $42,000, or the MPCA has $42,000 available to kind of help us in some efforts. And so the planning group decided to send out some soil health questionnaires, because a big initiative in our watershed is to implement soil health practices. It's not widely accepted, so we want to develop a questionnaire or survey to see why people aren't necessarily wanting to, just to get a little bit more information and guide us on our planning efforts. Also, we are looking at potentially doing no-till or some type of soil health magazine direct mailer to those producers at our watershed, just to kind of get a little bit more information thrown at them. And then also conducting a street sweeping study. This will be working with the city of Albert Lea and an engineer to kind of model the watershed of the city and determine when and where would be the biggest bang for your bucks to implement street sweeping activities. So again, this is a $42,000 grant that the Shell Rock would be administering on behalf of that planning group. So being that we're the one administrating it, this is why we're bringing it before the board, letting you know that we are applying for this funding, but it does sound very promising that we'll get this funding.
Do I have a motion to approve by Manager Hanson? Do I have a second?
Second.
Manager Lee, any discussion? Hearing none, will you please call roll?
Manager Bakken,
Aye.
Manager Kramer,
Aye.
Manager Hanson,
Aye.
Manager DeBoer,
Aye.
Manager Lee, Manager Belcher.
Aye, motion carried.
Thank you. The next is a motion to apply for watershed-based implementation funding supplemental funds. So these are a result of our One Watershed, One Plan implementation funds, where we have, our giant plan with all of our projects that we want to get completed. We did receive a grant from Bowser for roughly $325,000, and we're slowly working away at spending some of those funds, or actually not slowly, we're actually doing pretty good at spending some of those funds. But Bowser released a statement saying that they have unused funds that have been returned from other watershed districts that aren't spending their funds. And so they have a pot of money, multiple $1 million. I think it's like 7 to 9 or
7.75.
yeah, that they have in funding that they're going to redistribute out to those who are spending their dollars. And so again, our planning group of the SWCDs, the county and the city have gotten together. We came up with a request of roughly $925,000 that we are putting in to get more money. It might be, oh, we only have 500,000, so here, you go. It's basically just our wish list. We don't know if we're gonna get that dollar amount, but what that includes is a pretty large rain garden for the city of Albert Lea. some more funding for cover crops, septic installations for low income, and then also structural practices such as like waterways and that kind of stuff. So these are projects that our planning group thinks that we would very likely be able to get done in a short time frame, roughly 2 years. The funds would have to be spent by 2025, the end of 2025. And so again, yeah, looking for a motion to be able to apply for this. I will let you know that we are having a policy committee meeting next Tuesday, but just because of the time frame of when our board meeting is and when we have to submit this application, that's why we're having our board approve applying for the funds before we technically have the policy committee meeting.
And just to know, just to give you an idea how fast we're spending this money, one of our biggest pushes for the One Watershed One Plan money was cover crops. I think we had like 70,000 put aside for cover crops. Well, we had just an initial sign up and we already spent and have, I think, roughly 400 acres enrolled in the cover crops. So we've already spent that money, so now we need additional funds if we want to look at more cover crop practices throughout the One Watershed One Plan project. So that's really, you know, because we've been so aggressive using this, our first round of funding through the One Watershed One Plan, we're really looking at some supplemental funds to do even more. So again, that's why we're asking you to allow us to request this final funds from Bowser.
I think you could probably spend the whole 7 million.
Give us enough time. That might be a little tight for 2 years, but
Then I think you could do it.
yeah.
The other thing to remember too, is so the One Watershed One Plan is a 10-year cycle. And we'll get funding through that every 2 years. So our next allocation is 2025.
Yeah, and it looks like we're gonna get another 500 and some thousand. I don't remember the exact dollar amount. So you basically get funding every 2 years if you apply for it, but you have 3 years potentially to spend the funds. So sometimes there is an overlap of watershed based implementation funding, which Carmen loves, because then you can get all these grants that you're trying to track. But so yes, we are looking at, again, we got the 325, we're looking at potentially another 925,000, don't know if we'll get that, but then we are looking to apply for, again, our other 500 and some thousand. So, I mean, it is a good funding source. I know Annie and I have kind of griped a little bit that the Bowser implementation funding is nice, but it's not a large enough chunk to be able to do big projects. But this supplemental funds request is helping us kind of relieve that burden with the opportunity to get a large portion.
Okay. Good. Do I have a motion? We've had that. So moved by Manager Hanson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Manager Kramer, your discussion. Hearing none, will you please call roll?
Manager Vaca.
Aye.
Manager Kramer.
Aye.
Manager Hanson.
Aye.
Manager DeBoer.
Aye.
Manager Lee.
Aye.
Manager Ziller.
Carried.
Thank you. The next item I have is a motion to approve a purchase agreement for the Bryson wetland. So this is actually a purchase agreement for an easement. This is not something that we're going to be acquiring in title. It's just a permanent conservation easement. As a result, we have to do the title work to make sure that, you know, the landowner who is entering into the easement actually owns ground. So this triggers that title review process for us. We do have all of the checks and everything that we needed and balances done for getting it reimbursed. Again, it's roughly 41 acres and it is funded by the LCCMR grant that we have. We will be funding the wetland restoration portion of this project through Lissard Sands, but the easement payment and the engineering is being pulled out of the LCCMR funding grant. So again, just looking for a motion.
I have a motion. By Manager Hanson, do we have a second?
Second.
By Manager DeBoer, any discussion?
What's the term of the easement? Is it permanent?
It is permanent and it's very restrictive on the uses to the landowner.
That was my next question.
Yes. So the easement more so, if you look at the
What
actual.
can they use the property for?
Yeah, so there's basically, if you look at the easement, we basically determine what they can do with it versus what.
I looked at it, I didn't see that part.
Okay, but it is pretty restrictive and just basically that it is in the intention that it's basically a wetland restoration only. So they still own the property, but essentially we have more management over the wetland than the landowner.
So they're not making any profit off it.
Correct,
bring any more
yes, correct.
permanently. So the next question I had, and the last one is $10,000 an acre. What is that a percentage of the actual value of the land? Or is that the value of the land?
So it had to get appraised. So there was,
Exactly.
yeah, there was an appraisal process for the land
But,
to be completed.
but is that the same as a purchase would be for the value of the land?
Essentially, it's very.
Is that
similar.
is that what this land is worth in Freeborn County on the market?
It's very close, yes, because if you actually look at what the county has to assess per value, it's similar.
Thank you.
I will say this is our first time doing any.
Yes, but it was a long process.
We do easement, and normally easements are the same as fee title cost.
That's, yeah,
And we usually do that through like our temporary easements and stuff like that. We do see that. But for us as a watershed district, this is our first time doing an easement process for a permanent easement. We've always just done
Permanent
purchases.
easement would be almost the same normally as fee title.
Correct, yep. So again, Courtney's had a lot of ups and downs with this project.
yeah,
Trying to figure out this process for the watershed district, how we have to go through this process. We even needed.
we needed,
commissioner-
yeah, DNR commissioner's approval.
Who'd you use for
Sign
the
off.
appraiser?
Robertson appraisal.
Okay. I know them. They're good.
Mhm.
Sifkus, used to be Keith Sifkus.
It still is.
Okay.
Just the other thing to note that this is directly across the road from the ore.
And I see.
An ICE track that we did with the Fish and Wildlife, US Fish and Wildlife, so.
The only reason I ask is because in Loma County, the farm values are pushing 15 grand right now. They're also going to shift taxes to a CER base on ag land next year, I believe. So if you've got high quality land, your taxes are gonna be higher.
40%.
Isn't that true that they're going to a, yeah. Land quality or production quality or.
Okay,
So yay.
Any more discussion? Will you please call roll?
Manager Bachman,
I,
Manager Kramer,
Aye.
Manager Hanson,
Aye.
Manager DeBoer.
Aye.
Manager Lee, Manager Belvin.
Aye, motion carried.
thank you. The last item I have is about habitat restoration update. I am pleased to say that we received our public waters permit. In that process, there is some projects that need exclusions as a result of the fish spawning timeline, but we were able to get an exemption for a large majority of that. We had to work with Craig Secure out of the water bills office to be able to complete that. I will let you know that it's gonna be between 3 bid packages. It's gonna go on Quest because it's a larger style project and we just thought Quest would be the best. So the different projects bid packages are gonna include, one is gonna be all of the in-lake, like the rocks, the tree placings, all of that's gonna be one bid package. The next is the shoreline restoration work, that's gonna be all one package, and then the third is the vegetation component, which is the floating wetland and also the native species plantings. The reason why we're doing it in 3 separate bid packages, it's just very specialized work, and so it's really hard to find one company that can do all 3 of those things. So we feel like we'll get better bids and, better people to do the work if it's 3 separate bid packages. It is going on Quest tomorrow. We're looking at having bids due January 3rd to award a contractor at our January meeting, which is January 10th, I believe. So moving forward on that one, and we have until June of next year to complete the project, so those contractors are gonna go work fast.
Yeah, good. June 2024
Yep.
completion.
The end of June. Not the beginning of June.
Turn the aerators up.
Yeah. A lot of that is because a result of the DNR permitting and EAW process. We would have been able to have it out for bid and stuff a lot sooner.
Go figure.
Same hurdle every time.
That's all they're having.
Problem is that hurdle keeps getting taller and taller.
Yeah, there you go.
It does.
Yep. Anything else, Courtney? That will go on to item 7, manager item, any manager items?
The country club property, we've discussed it in the past, and I know we've done some testing for the sewer, curb and gutter, and a few things, I think. So I don't know if those testing statements have a final date down or whatever, but I'd like to see that we do something about the property that spring or whatever. So we don't have to go back to the retesting everything again. Like to have it on the January agenda if we could.
Okay. Just one thing to note too, and Alan Nick will appreciate this. If you would like to go out to the CDF, cell 1 no longer has any trees in it.
How do you do that? No trees out there, that'd be, I'm happy to go out there, let's go out there today, shouldn't it?
Yeah, please do. It looks actually really good, so.
I got one more than 2, so. You have a 2-stage ditch that we initiated down on JD number 9, and I think there's some volunteer trees coming in the low area there too, so we need to look at that with the county. Please.
Now without trees. Before I never knew there was one there. Yeah, perfect. Any other manager items? None? With item 8, upcoming meetings, our next meeting is January 9th. Regular monthly meetings, and then also there's a county drainage conference. Andy, can you give us a little more on that?
Yeah, again, this is a county drainage conference put on by a number of groups, but the lead group is the League of Minnesota Counties. This is probably an important one for, I always point out Al, but Al is the only farmer that sits on the board right now, but I think it's important for this group to see a lot of the potential regulations that are coming down from the state. Again, mostly from environmental groups pushing for some pretty big ass from the agricultural community, and really trying to stop things such as adequate outlet is one of the big things that they're discussing, along with a registry that they want for all drainage projects. Again, why they need that or why they want that, we don't know. But again, I think it's good for our board to stay up to speed on what's going on in the drainage world. We do or are a big portion of that here in Freeborn County. So yeah, that's a important one for any of the board managers that want more information to definitely, I would recommend to definitely attend that meeting that is February 7th through the 8th. If you would like to attend that, please let us know ahead of time. And we can have Leah get you registered and also get your rooms for that meeting.
Where is that
That is also in Arrowwood and Alexandria. It's probably one of the most centralized locations when you figure from War Road to Albert Lee.
Nice too.
So.
Well, maybe like to, but I'll be gone.
The question, can, if we go as a manager, can we represent the watershed at that meeting or?
Absolutely.
I'm just asking.
You need to go there as the mindset that you represent the watershed.
You have to write down what you're gonna say, and it has to be approved by the board of directors.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd like to be considered, let's put it that way, okay?
I would like for you to go.
Thank you. Any other upcoming meetings?
I have a board meeting in about an hour.
What are we up then? Okay, next item 9, adjourn. Motion to adjourn. So moved. By Manager Bachman, do I have a second? By Manager Hanson. No discussion. Please call roll.
Manager Bachman.
Aye.
Manager Kramer.
Aye.
Manager Hanson.
Aye.
Manager DeBoer.
Aye.
Manager Lee.
Aye.
Manager Delter.
All right, we are adjourned.
Everyone.